This work session regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. In accordance with Section 5, the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by posting on the bulletin board at the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers. A list of times, dates, annually, indicating that this work session regular meeting would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex, 7 p.m. on Tuesday, September 8th, 2015. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by Councilman Carl Wright.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we gather here today as members of the Township Council, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind that enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in the areas and on those things upon which the future generations can build confidence with. Let us continue to strive to make a better world.
Amen.
Ms. McCarthy, will you please call the roll?
Councilman Chase, Deputy Mayor Francois,
Here.
Mayor Kelly,
Here.
Councilman Kramer,
Here.
Councilman Prasad, Councilwoman Robinson, Councilwoman Sherman,
Here.
Councilman Vasanella,
Here.
Councilman Wright.
Here.
We're now up to for those of you who, I know it doesn't look like, we never get a full house like this every evening. On the corner over by the clerk, there is an agenda. It gives you an idea of everything we're going to be doing this evening. Feel free and get that so you can follow along with us. We're up to number 5 in our program, which is the commendations and proclamations. Councilman Wright.
We're up first?
You are now.
Don't know if the kids are here.
Can you make it? Because I left the home with the other.
Okay. How was your Barbados?
That would be me.
It wasn't me, it was him.
To talk with you about this festival. I'm not doing this again next year. I'm not. I'm
Yeah, just take
overwhelmed
the home. I think there's more.
and a little crazed. So we gotta figure out something for next year.
Give me the other one. First off, I would like to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Every year we have our fireworks put together here for all the residents here in Franklin Township. And the fireworks are put basically at no cost to the residents. And I think it's a pretty well-run program. I think everyone that comes has a good time. I know I do. And if you come, I think you'll enjoy yourself. So next year, come on down to the fireworks, food, vendors, games. Everyone has a good time. So in recognition of that, what we would like to do is thank those vendors, suppliers, what have you, for donating money to the fireworks committee. Fireworks in of itself. The commendation reads, by the Mayor and Council of the Township of Franklin, we, Christopher Kelly, Mayor, Carl Wright, Councilman, me, of the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of the Township Council and all residents of the Township of Franklin, do hereby extend our thanks to Appraisal Consultants Corporation in appreciation and commendation for their sponsorship and active part in making the 4th of July celebration on July the 2nd, 2015, an overwhelming success. Signed, Mayor Kelly and myself, Carl Wright. Now, what I would like to do is, we have a whole lot of proclamations there. So what I would like to do is just fold them up. Mayor Kelly's going to come over, run down the list of all of our vendors and suppliers. But we also have one for William Bill Grippo. He serves as chairman, and I serve as his vice chairman. And Brother Bill, as I call him, he takes care of business. He makes sure that you have fun on the 4th of July. In addition to that, Councilwoman Sherman, she also has a part to play in our 4th of July. Come on down here, Raj. You want to stay up there?
Sure, I'll come down.
Come on down. I'm going to give 2 minutes for Councilwoman Sherman to just speak about what you do. Go for it.
So it's been my pleasure over the past several years to be involved with the 4th of July. As you may or may not recall, at one point I had started a cultural arts council here in Franklin Township, and it was through that that I became aware and got to know a lot of the people in the area who were very talented, who would provide outstanding entertainment for the 4th of July event. That was my part of it. I also was the person who did the announcing and put the schedule together. So that was actually the prelude to the Franklin Day Festival, which I'll talk about during council comments, but that's what I do today. But it's been my joy to work with Mr. Grippo and mostly the township employees who put in a lot of time and effort, the recreation department, Tiffany Delaney, the special projects manager, our financial group, Kathy Moody, and I'm sure I'm forgetting Joyce Miller, who did purchasing. So this is a real township event. John House with the fire area, the fire prevention. So everyone did a part of it, and I'm very proud to have done my part. And I think it showed by the attendance and the good time that was had by all.
Thank you, Councilman Sherman. Now I'm going to bring the mayor up, and he's going to run down everyone that donated to the Franklin Township 4th of July celebration.
Thank you all. I'm sure this won't be everyone that donated, but at least the major sponsors I'll read off. And we have proclamations for each of them. It's basically the same proclamation that Councilman Wright read, but we don't want to be here all evening reading the same thing over again. So,
Sure they do. Go ahead and read them all.
Appraisal Consultants Corp., Arcari and Iovino Architects, Briar Manor Developers, Buist Inc., Carroll Engineering Corp., CME Associates, David Samuel, David Osceola, Fancy Heat Corp., Frank and Mary Jane Semser, Microcorp., Green Hill Manor Villa, LLC, Hatch Mott McDonald, Hodgelick Morrison, PA, House Food American Corp., Investors Bank, Praise Presbyterian Church, Resta's Car Care, Middlebush Service Center, RPM Development, Shane Schaefer Raffinello, PC, Trap Rock Industries, Venus Jewelers and Gemologists, and Wilentz Goldman and Spitzer, PC. So we will give these out to each one of them, and thankful for them for their help and giving the much-needed donations so the townsfolk don't have to pay for the fireworks. You can just come and enjoy.
Yes. There's one on there, Praise Presbyterian Church. Every year they donate, and I would just like to single them out as a vendor, as a donation that we all appreciate and love. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Are the young people from the Cedar Hill Prep School here? Come on up. Come on up. This is one of the public service responsibilities that I have as a deputy mayor and councilwoman to serve this town, that I really, really am honored and have a lot of gratitude to be able to serve our young people. A lot of times when the young people in the community do things, as the Franklin Youth Initiative leader, founder and leader, I get contacted directly about things that our young people are doing. And this group of young people contacted me, and I said, by all means, I think everybody should know what they're doing. Who's your leader? You're the leader. Oh, okay, okay, great. See that? See that? Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to read this proclamation to you, and we have one for each of the young people. And then be ready to say something when I'm finished, okay? All right. So the commendation reads, whereas Alatunji Adewole, a student of Cedar Hill Prep School, initiated the Give and Get, a community service project whose overall purpose is to facilitate various programs to support those less fortunate than us, whether it be a donation of food items, monetary value, or otherwise a contribution to address homelessness and recycling. Whereas the Give and Get project, who was initiated by their leader, Alatunji, did I say that right? Alatunji. Alatunji, I said it right. Okay, thank you. He initiated, this was his concept, his ideal, his vision. He was also joined by his classmates. Simone Thompson, raise your hand. All right, Simone. Ganesh Acharya, Ganesh Acharya, thank you for, if I say your name wrong, correct me. I'm not good at names, I admit. Shreya Krishnan. Shreya Krishnan. Uh-oh. Nicola? Nicola? Okay, I see I just don't have the right pronunciation. I'm almost there, just not quite. Ashna Kelkar?
She couldn't make it.
She couldn't make it, okay. And Matthew Johnson. I couldn't mess that name up. Okay, all right, he couldn't make it either. Oh, wow. And we tried to do this a couple months ago, but we tried to get as many of the group here as we are today. Whereas one of their fundraisers was a dance held on June 12, 2015, that raised $275 for the food bank, which resulted to a rededication to their goal of helping and contributing to their community. Now, therefore, we, Kimberly Francois, Deputy Mayor, and Christopher Kelly, Mayor of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of our Township Council, do hereby recognize these wonderful young people with respect and gratitude. Alatunji, Simone, Ganesh, Shara, McKeith, Ashna, and Matthew for addressing the needs of those less fortunate and for their outstanding contribution to the community through their Give and Get program. Let's give these young people a round of applause. I can say when I was their age, I wasn't thinking about anybody else but me. So this is a wonderful thing, and we really applaud you, and we just have so much admiration for you all, and just keep up the good work. Don't let this be your first project, which I know it won't be. So come on up here and say something.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Olatunji Adewale, and I started the Give and Get community service project when I was putting in community service hours for my school when I was participating in a program called VIP, which stands for Volunteering is Priceless, at the Plainfield Homeless Shelter. And I would go there on one of the Wednesdays of each month, and I would serve dinners to the people who lived at the homeless shelter. And we would have big dinners on holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving, and it was a really fun way to get community service hours in. And when I started doing it for a while, for about 2-3 years, I started thinking about starting my own community service project, which led me to thinking about Giving It, and the whole point of the name is you give. It's on our flyer right here. It says, "Give a little hope and get a little joy," and it's all about just doing nice things just because they're nice things to do. And the original, or the first concept of the program was to base it on recycling, which we would take parts of lunches that kids didn't eat, because at our school kids were throwing away like a lot of their homemade lunches. So we would put them in brown paper bags and donate them to food shelters and homeless shelters. But that didn't really work out as we thought it would, because a lot of kids at our school get hot lunch, so that didn't really work out. But then we started just basing it on community service in general, and we did a dress down day for our school because we have uniforms, and we've had dress down days before, but they usually weren't started by kids. They're usually based on the school and events that they hosted. So we decided that everybody paid money, and then they could wear whatever clothes they wanted. And a lot of kids wore the main two colors of Give and Get, which is blue and orange. And it was really fun. Everyone enjoyed it. And then at the end of the year, we hosted a dance, which was themed kind of like the Paradise Island theme. And it was really fun, and we had food and played games, and it was music. And I think everyone had a good time. This is the check that we have that represents the $275 that we raised at the dance we hosted. And most of the donations were people just paying to get in, and some people paid a little bit of extra, as well as paying in advance. And yeah.
I'm Frank Hasner, Executive Director of the Food Bank. I think these guys are a great example of supporting a community. We're a community-based food bank. We're not a government agency, and this is exactly what we like to see. There is a way. You can figure out a way to help out your neighbors. So thank you, guys. Great job.
One more round of applause for you.
Yeah, there are three of them.
I just like the sound that makes, so. Okay. As some of you may or may not know, September is Blood Cancer Awareness Month. Normally, on any other given year, the first 42 years of my life, I probably wouldn't have noticed that much or even really done anything about it other than hear that it's, National Blood Cancer Awareness Month, because it didn't really affect me all that much. And then on June 3rd of this year, I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. As some of you can tell, if you remember when I was sworn in, I didn't have this beautifully shaped head and all of that. But what happened is I just wasn't feeling really well and went to the doctor, thought I was training for Ironman and marathons, and I'm a healthy guy. This doesn't happen to healthy people, but apparently it does. So what I wanted to do is use a little bit of my experience and a little bit of my mayoral visibility to raise some awareness to this. I have a representative from the Leukemia Lymphoma Society that could probably give you a few details on things, but like I said, this was something that hit very closely to home very recently. Nobody really cares, but my prognosis is very good. 10 days from today, come on. 10 days from today, I will have my final chemo treatment, and then we'll have the all clear, and I'll be back to growing that fine mane that I started this job with. Okay, so here is the proclamation. It is also, I think, September 15th is Wear Red Day for that, and there are these really nifty green. I learned also that the lymphoma awareness has this. I think the official color is puke green. Is the color of lymphoma awareness. So I will read this, and then we will have a few comments. So blood cancer awareness, September 2015. Whereas blood cancer is currently afflict more than 1 million people in the United States, with an estimated 175,200 new cases diagnosed each year. Whereas leukemia, lymphoma, and myeloma will kill an estimated 52,560 people in the United States this year, and whereas the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, through voluntary contributions, is dedicated to finding cures for these diseases through research efforts and the support for those who suffer from them, and therefore be it resolved that I, Christopher Kelly, Mayor of the Township of Franklin, join with the Leukemia Lymphoma Society in designating the month of September 2015 as Blood Cancer Awareness Month to enhance the understanding of blood-related cancers and to encourage the participation in voluntary activities and to support education programs, the funding of research programs to find a cure for them. In witness whereof, I do hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, to be affixed this 8th day of September, 2015. Okay. And I'll be a little bit self-serving here. I am actually putting my money where my mouth is with this joining with Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Hopefully, on October 18th, I will be running the Atlantic City Marathon to raise funds for Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Thank you. It will more than likely be slower than the last few times I've run it, but I have a built-in excuse right now, so I really am not going to care at all. Just going to have fun and enjoy the day.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and the Township of Franklin. My name is Laura Girolando, and I am the Senior Director of the Team and Training Department of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Thank you for letting me speak to you. Every 3 minutes, someone new is diagnosed with a blood cancer, and every 10 minutes, someone has passed away. So if you think about how long you've been here, many people have been touched by blood cancer and have passed away. So today, as your mayor has mentioned, he is recognizing Blood Cancer Awareness Month. We are making a difference. In the state of New Jersey alone, the program that Chris is part of, the Team in Training, his team is raising over $60,000 for the state of New Jersey, and the entire department's goal is to raise over $1 million between July 1st and June 30th. For the entire state of New Jersey, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society will raise over $6 million. That will go to patients, support groups, research programs, and making a difference. So on behalf of the society, thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Township, for recognizing and being aware of our organization. We are making a difference because you're learning about it and people are donating every day. For more information, go to lls.org/NJ, and you can make a donation. You can learn more about our programs, get the support you might need, or anything else. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening.
Okay, on that note, we are moving along. I know I saw a few people come in late. There are, I'll just kind of point it back out, there are agendas up on the corner of the table over there in case anybody would like to follow along in the audience. Is there a motion to open the meeting for public discussions?
So moved.
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. The meeting is
Mr.
open.
Mayor,
Yes?
can I request that I be allowed to make a public statement or it's pertinent to some of the comments that may come? So-
Go right ahead.
Okay, appreciate it. So I'd like to read this statement. I come before the mayor and my council colleagues, and most importantly, the public this evening. I'm deeply regretful of my recent actions that have undercut a Franklin tradition of debate with respect for the other participants, regardless of whether we agree or disagree. The issue of whether or not to support the expansion of recreational facilities, including cricket fields, has raised deep passions within our community. Some do not want the expansion of our programs and facilities, while others point to the increase in our population and the diversity of needs of our multicultural population. In Franklin, we have always been able to reach a common ground between positions, and we take pride in doing so. In recent weeks, however, I allowed myself to be overtaken by my own passions. Now, on further reflection and discussion with my council colleagues, I realize my comments and actions were not helpful and were responsible for further inflaming the issue. Having said this, I want to specifically say, first, to Brian and Gina Ulrich, I want to personally and sincerely apologize for my comments and actions which in any way questioned your motivations, including and especially my request for an investigation of you and/or the Tranquility Protection Alliance. In the past few weeks, I have come to learn a lot about how social media works. I now realize that just because someone sets up a Facebook page, in fact, does not mean that they necessarily support all the comments that are made on that page. In fact, I credit you for taking down certain posts which were as viewed by some in the community as potentially inflammatory. I made the mistake of holding the majority responsible for the distasteful views of a narrow minority. I hope that you will extend my apologies to the many followers of your Facebook page, who I know share your heartfelt concern. Second, I want to apologize to Bill Bowman for questioning his accuracy in the reporting of events regarding my interaction with the Human Relations Commission. Bill has served our community admirably and continues to provide Franklin residents with an invaluable service by providing a very important window into the workings of local government. Bill, I hope that you will continue to do so in the future. I sincerely look forward to working with you and to support your efforts. To the mayor, my fellow council members, and the citizens of Franklin, I also wish to apologize to you as my actions and statements have caused unnecessary dissension and made us lose focus on dealing with the many other issues before us. Finally, I take away important lessons from this experience, and that is to redouble my efforts to serve this community in a respectful, fair, and open-minded fashion, where all citizens are treated with deference and respect. I have done my best in the past to serve this community in such a manner, and despite this temporary lapse in judgment, I pledge to you tonight that this is how I intend to continue to serve in the future. In short, I was wrong, and I am sorry. I look forward to rebuilding your trust in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. I believe we voted on opening the meeting. I think it was all in favor. So let me just go for the record. The meeting is open for public discussion on any item of interest that does not have a public hearing of its own. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand and when recognized, give your name and address. Please, I was going to say, if you want to just come up to the microphone, and then if there are a lot of people here, if you want to just start forming a line or however you'd like to.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you and the whole council.
Please just give your name and address for the
Yes,
clerk to
sir.
keep on the record.
My name is Jatinder K. Galati, Gulati. I live in Somerset Run for last 10 years. And here is Rosalind Sherman, I am in her district. And the sole purpose of my coming here is to show my appreciation, Mayor, of you and all your colleagues, to safeguard the interest and the rights of every citizen, every resident of Franklin Township in a fair and, even-handed manner. I'm here for the last 10 years. I'm a retiree. I came to Somerset Run in 1975. And I commend all of you, my interaction with any one of you, my congresswoman, my sort of committee person, Rosalind Sherman, has always been very helpful. And I think each and every citizen, a resident of Franklin Township deserves your support and deserves your even-handed handling of the issues within law. And each one of us needs to follow the law, whatever the consequence. If there's a siting issue of a temple, school, housing complex, it has to go through its own siting committee review by your appointed appointed person, city engineer. The traffic pattern have to be looked at and all the other aspects. And what may be the outcome? We should not lose this sight of respecting others and also giving the due respect to other people's views, no matter how different they are of ours. And I want to thank, Council Person Rajiv Prasad and yourself and all of your colleagues. I don't even know your name. And thank you again for all the great work you have been doing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Please.
Alex Karazi, 14 Margaret Drive in Somerset. Councilwoman Robinson, welcome. Congratulations. Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words this evening. I would like to share some thoughts about 2 items today. The first item is about building the Indian temple. As one of the coordinators of the Franklin Township Interfaith Council, in my opinion, houses of worship are a blessing for any community. Each house of worship not only serves the spiritual needs of their members, but often they serve the community at large. Be as an emergency shelter at times of disaster, or having blood drive, feeding hungry, helping a community member in need regardless of his or her faith, helping our troubled youth, and collecting food for the food banks are just a few examples of what the House of Worship do. So my suggestion to our community members who are against building the Indian temple is this. Please arrange a meeting with the leaders of the temple, if you have not done so, and discuss how they will operate. What are their plans to serve the community of Franklin, and especially discuss how often they are going to have special programs. Believe it or not, most of the houses of worship have only once or twice a year a big celebration where the traffic may be a problem, and often they hire police to direct the traffic. And I am positive that after you discuss with the leaders, you may find more positive things about having a house of worship in your neighborhood than negative things. And I hope you will be convinced that either you will not be against them or maybe you will become their supporter. The second item I'd like to talk about is about Councilman Prasad. There is a tribe in Africa that when someone makes a mistake, the rest of the tribe members gather around him, and each one will talk about good thing that he or she has done in his life or her life. Because they realize that people make mistakes, and when someone makes a mistake, he or she needs the help to come back to his or her true nature, which is to do good. Many of us known Councilman Prasad for many years as one of the servants of our community. He has supported many great projects that have helped our township. Councilman Prasad, with his recent words and actions, hurt some people and disappointed others. However, as you hear today, he has recognized his mistakes and he has apologized. Mr. Mayor, Councilman and Councilwoman, as the leaders of the community, we expect you to share all the great work that Councilman Prasad has done over the years. And unite this community again, this council again. There are always more pleasure and satisfaction in forgiving. I hope as the evening progresses and as the community members come and speak, we keep in mind that there are better ways to deal with mistakes, and hope you agree that requesting resignation is not one of them. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless this community.
Hello, good evening. My name is Lucy Petroni, and I live in North Brunswick, 1603 Birchwood Court. And I would really like to thank each and every one of you to give me this opportunity to speak on behalf of Mr. Prasad. I represent the new Peetam, the temple that's going to be being considered to move to Franklin Township. And one of the things, even though I live in North Brunswick, I work in Somerset in New Road School, And both the communities, the food bank, I'm very familiar with it, and we have a once a year dinner we arranged under guidance of my boss, Lori Foster. We also have special needs young men and women that go to Cedar Hill Prop, and they volunteer there, their services for 3 hours every day. And I believe in giving back to the community. I'm a volunteer at our temple right now. I work full-time, and I work full-time volunteering there. And I lived here since 1979. And I have, most of my years, I lived in Midwest, Naperville, Illinois. I moved to New Jersey in 2007. Since then, I found a place of worship here. I made my own friends, wonderful, great people. The Indian community is all about peace. We want to give through our temple now. We have people donating to the shelter in Edison right now every Sunday. We have donated back to school supplies to the South Plainfield needy children, to the school district. We are going to escalate the charity and sharing our wealth to the people in the community. You will be benefiting if you support us. We will be working with the Franklin Township people, and we are going to extend our charity, our beliefs, which is peace, and spread the message of love one another. So we would like to move here, and I support Mr. Prasad in every attempt, and I think his apology is very sincere, and he must be given a second chance to prove himself to the community. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you when the PTM comes to the Franklin Township. Most of our devotees, they're planning on buying real estate in the community. They're planning on doing a lot of wonderful things to the community. I do not have any negative things that are going to happen if you vote for the PTM to move over to the Franklin Township. So we must be given a chance. The South Indian community is a very well-recognized, educated, caring, and loving community. You will not have any problems. You will not have any issues. And I think people should give us a chance to get to know us. And I can give my number to any of you and explain what the temple is all about, what our core principles are. When you find out all these details, I am sure you're going to agree with me, and you will have no problem supporting our temple in the Franklin Township. And once again, thank you, everyone, and you guys have a great night.
Thank you very much. In the back? Sure.
My name is Rajni Desai. I am living in 137 Sapphire Lane in Franklin Park. I'm thinking, and I'm all to work together. Anybody like Indian people or anybody, as per me, like work together. If you made a mistake, we have to apologize, and everybody got to work together and how to improve like our community or our whole Franklin Township, that we have to think. So one person made a mistake, no. We have to do all together, work together, and how to solution and find out, we find out that way and always help to each other. That's where they help, so as per not only one community, otherwise somebody says, oh, then we have to do the strike. No, that's not good. Otherwise, come all together in a township, that's not good. So all to work together and find out the solution and how we take it easy to going on and improve our Franklin Township. That is the main thing I am. So please do whatever favoring to our Indian people or anybody, just to try to go improve our township. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Siegel, I think you were next, and then I'll get.
Thank you. Apologize, a little bit of allergies tonight. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Scott Siegel, 2301 Avery Court. I'd like to begin tonight to talk about this Human Relations Commission, which I believe needs to be reformed if it really is going to do the job it's supposed to do. Right now, it's set up more like a grand jury where people can basically indict a ham sandwich, which is what happened here. Mr. Ehrlich was not asked to participate in this at all. I believe the council should put a motion together that this organization should offer due process as guaranteed by the Constitution. Both sides should be heard. The evidence by the complainant should be given to the other side. He should have enough notice to say a couple of weeks to get his side of the story together, and both sides should be heard. Number two is Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify. According to this newspaper article here, the Franklin Reporter, people in that commission did not even look at the Facebook page, yet they voted to condemn it. That's completely wrong. Any evidence provided must be seen by every single member of this commission. Otherwise, we make an uninformed decision, and we see what happens here. Also, it was mentioned that in the article about political pressure being put on by a couple of people. It's supposed to be an autonomous group. Anyone at our level in the future that interferes with the operations of what's supposed to be an autonomous commission should be forced to resign. The other thing is, Republicans were here, we had something called a ethics commission, and that was done bipartisan. There were 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans. It was ended a couple of years ago. I don't know why, but whatever. This commission should be bipartisan. This way, a lot of these things won't happen. And if we can't do these things, it should be disbanded, because right now, again, it's being used as a political tool to go after individuals. In terms of Councilman Prasad, you got a little bit better tonight, but I still don't think you're there. You did apologize to the Franklin Reporter for telling the truth. If they told the truth, that means you lied. And Mayor Kelly showed about that last meeting. You did not apologize for lying. Now, why would you lie? You're a smart guy. The only thing I could think of, there must have been a cover-up. You made sure that whatever you said would not be criticized, which it was. You didn't apologize for covering up. You also didn't mention that, according to this article, our deputy mayor, Kimberly Francois, was involved somehow in this affair. Little advertisement here for our Assemblyman Joe Danielson. His name is also mentioned as getting involved in this affair. You talk about investigation, you fail to tell the truth, that you actually, according to last Friday, you contacted the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. This is what the article said. And the only way you would do that is to interfere with someone's First Amendment rights, which you sort of corrected tonight. But if you lie, you cover up, you don't mention two elected officials giving pressure to this commission, and if you did contact the FBI, and if not, then you should correct that record. But if these things are all true, these are things you didn't say that are very important, and you should resign if these things are true. For deputy mayor, at the last meeting, you said we live in a wonderful town. Well, we do, but your name is mentioned as involved in this. You should have mentioned what you did in any manner or form, because it doesn't say what you and Assemblyman Danielson did. This goes a lot further than here. I came from Hoboken, Hudson County, and I didn't expect to see this kind of thing going on here. We do Purple Walk a month there. Also, I asked the members of the majority to condemn Councilman Prasad for his actions. That wasn't done. I guess you get to do it because you can't have an elected official using his power to go after a local group, especially without proof in an unfair manner. If you don't do that, you're basically saying that myself, members of this community, like our former mayor and our freeholder, Brian Levine, are all racist. It's not true, and we cannot live with this type of atmosphere here. So, Councilman Prasad, you have to explain what I said, why you didn't mention these things, and we need to reform this HRC, because right now, again, it's being used as a political tool to be wielded against political opponents, and that's also wrong. Thank you.
Honorable Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council members, ladies and gentlemen, I am Chandrakant Desai. I am the resident of Franklin for the last 20 years and living at 1 Lindsay Court, Franklin Park, New Jersey, 08823. I am here to support and thank Councilman Rajiv Prasad for his services to all Franklin residents. I am here to thank all council members and the present and past mayors for their support for the House of Worship to pray and for the parks and facilities providing active recreation for the Franklin residents to enjoy and play. So far, as the Franklin resident, I am proud of the entire council for supporting and maintaining harmony and unity in diversity. And I request the council to keep up the good work and permitting the residents to freely play, pray, and live a happy, healthy happy and healthy life in this great Franklin Township, which bears the name of great Benjamin Franklin, who is on the ball over there. And for the just before last 50 years, more than 50 years, I read the biography of Benjamin Franklin, and I still remember one quotation of him, which is studied in my heart, and it gives a very important message to every one of us. What he says that, be civil to all. With everyone, behave in a civilized manner. Be civil to all, that's first thing. Then sociable to many. He says that, be friendly to every one of them, many, sociable to many. Then he says that you can open your heart not to everyone, but at least some of them. So he says that sociable to many, familiar with a few. Familiar with a few. And then, I'm trying to interpret what he says. Then he says, friend to one and enemy to none. What he says, friend to one, I think he must have meant that husband, wife, lover, beloved, or a few friends. They should be friend to one, not to everyone. You see, you cannot have that kind of friendship. So he wants to say that, you see, don't betray your friends. Probably that may be the meaning out of it. And he says, lastly, enemy to none, where he gives the principle of non-violence and love. By the last one he starts, friend to one and then enemy to none. And that principle, we are the Americans of Indian origin, and we are the generations of Mahatma Gandhi, and who was also just his philosophy and what he said. They are all the same, non-violence. And now, on October 2nd, Gandhi's birthday is coming up, which will be celebrated by United Nations as the Non-Violence Day. And we are coming from that particular heritage. And I would say that we are peace-loving people. We are the people who have demonstrated even to the Britishers that we can get our freedom by non-violence, by peaceful actions. And when I visited a couple of years ago this Statue of Liberty, I saw over there quotations of several great men. And one quotation was from Mahatma Gandhi. He said that, as I love my freedom, I will honor everybody's freedom and protect others' freedom too. So that is the way we have to live. Also, one thing very important, Gandhi said in a nutshell, that, you see, if you take eye for an eye, if one pokes something in my eye, I will do the same thing in others' eye. If you take eye for an eye, the whole world will be blind. That was a message for me.
Good evening, Council. My name is Mike Cancel. I live at 4 Rupert Drive. I actually lived here from 1996, moved out to North Carolina in 2002, and came back last August. I actually came back. I forgot about New Jersey politics. It's really interesting, I got to tell you. The reason why I'm here, I didn't know anything about churches and temples. This seems to have turned into a Asian, Indian, American. I don't get all of that. What I'm here is when I read the newspaper article about the accusations of a citizen to inform the FBI and call in the police, I have to tell you, it was chilling to me. I felt as if I was back in Joe McCarthy days. I probably won't come to another meeting again because frankly, I'm very busy. I work. I postponed a business trip to be here. But I find that your apology, which might be sincere, doesn't address this lapse in judgment of a public official to go to the FBI, to call the FBI to go after a private citizen. Mr. Prasad, this is terrifying. Terrifying. I'm not sure that you understand the ramifications of what you did, and this is very problematic. But this is analogous to a secret service, a Stasi, a secret police to go after a citizen. This is nuts. I'm sorry.
Gina Ulrich. I'm the Gina Ulrich that was referred to as a neo-Nazi, just so you're all aware. 209 Wilson Road. I appreciate you apologizing, Mr. Prasad, to the room tonight and to me. But what I don't appreciate is that it seems that you have people in the room commending you tonight for these great actions that you've done. And I think those people need to be aware of the fact that it's not about the great things that maybe you've done for them. I think the gentleman that just spoke said it best. I don't think you fully understand the ramifications of your hurtful and disgusting words against myself and my husband, what that means. I am an Edison public school teacher. When you Google my name now, as some parents might do in the beginning of the school year, fourth under Google is how I'm mentioned as a racist due to your comments that you emailed pages and pages that I have of your emails to the chief of police referring to my husband and myself as neo-Nazi racist. Do you know what a Nazi is? Do you understand what that means? The last time I spoke to you, I read you the definition of a racist, and you sat here that night saying that you had done nothing wrong. You lied again. You lied in these emails to the chief of police requesting that my husband and I be interviewed by the FBI. So before another person in this room gets up and talks about how great this man is, I want you to understand that he wanted the FBI to investigate me. Not for anything that I did other than say, and your words were, I badgered the council because I like nature. I don't think you can refer to me as a neo-Nazi or a racist. You want to call me a tree hugger? Say that. But there is not one thing that I or my husband have done to remotely, in any way, shape, or form, require you to call the chief of police to email him for police protection at the last meeting. Police protection. I don't think this room understands what you said in your email, so you can apologize, but they don't understand the ramifications of what you said about my husband and myself. You can affect my career as a public school teacher. Do you understand that, sir? That when you Google my name now, and I've said, I'm going to say it again before another person gets up here and talks about how great this man is, I want you to think about how he could possibly have done something to destroy my 20-year career in Edison Township. So I'm going to read something to you, since we're all quoting tonight, what I think of you and your actions. Being a school teacher, I thought of what I wanted to call you tonight. And I thought in my mind, you know what? E.B. White said it best in Charlotte's Web when they were describing Templeton the rat. The goose and the gander were worried about Templeton, and with good reason. That rat had no morals, no conscience, no scruples, no consideration, no decency, no milk of rodent kindness, no higher feeling, no friendliness, no anything. He would kill a gosling if he could get away with it. The goose knew that. Everyone knew it. I think you tried to get away with something, sir, and you didn't. You tried to get away with it, but you didn't. All the apologies in the world are not going to bring back my reputation that now is tarnished on Google. Thank you.
I'm a racist. Stone cold racist. I don't like nobody. I am a racist.
Mr. Tibbs? Mr. Tibbs, please, just your name, address, and address the council, if you would.
I want you to understand that.
God.
Oh. I come here tonight. I'm John H. Tibbs, 25 Parkside. I've been living in this township for 65 years.
I've been involved in politics since I was 17 years old, starting out passing out leaflets, supporting every candidate in this town. I go back with old man George Consovoy. You guys know him? All you guys were just babies then. And old man Chris Delar. Anybody know who Chris Delar is? We got a street named after him up there. I come here for one reason. Put my glasses on, Johnny. We always had a remarkable relationship with the township at all times. I'm one of the original members of SCAP, which was one of the most prolific agencies in this town. We always had a remarkable relationship with the Township Council. I have had many successful years in supporting the Democratic candidates in this town. But I have to say, I personally always feared a total Democratic council. I've always feared that because of one reason. Because someone would have to carry a dissenting vote sometimes, at least to propose options to any given subject, any given issue. I've always had that problem. But I am now totally appalled at the tactics and destructive movements that some of you council members has taken into turning this into a Republican town. I am a Democrat, stone cold Democrat. First of all, I didn't like the movement. A group of people has led to us to vote for the last school board election. You brought 4 candidates to us. They're pitiful, absolutely pitiful. A bunch of Republicans come into the town to correct the business of the council, of the school board that was there previous. I totally agree, they needed some help. You brought 4 people in there that were total Republicans, and they have nothing to do with the town, with the kids in the community. They want to have nothing to do with them. They made sure they hired a superintendent. They made sure he was co-opted in terms of their policies before he was hired. We expressed our concerns about the kids, bringing kids up from behind. And the kids in the community said they want to teach the kids, to bring the kids up, educational values of the kids so they won't be left behind. The school board president said he was not interested in that type of education of kids. The superintendent also conveyed the same fact, that he was interested in upbringing the kids of the lower economic strata of kids in the neighborhoods, in the educational system. Because they're part of a party that not conducive to the people of the community. The Democratic Party is the party of the people. And I resent the steady movement of individuals that's trying to destroy the Democratic Party in this town. You know who you are. And anybody in this town, Councilman Basad, I don't mad at Councilman Basad, I'm a racist. If a bunch of people came out here and was against me raising the quality of life for a Hindu temple, or to play a cricket field, which is all Indians also, you must got something against Indians. That's what I would think. If you came out there and told me you want to build no basketball court, I know you're bad against black people. If the whole thing started behind, they did not want a temple built. You do not want a cricket, that's all Indians. If that ain't racism, what is it? You tell me what it is. I'm a racist. I know what racism is. People in Middlebush, you don't know the history of Middlebush? People in Middlebush, they burned a cross on Lennox Hines' lawn right in the town of Middlebush, 1970. People in Middlebush, is some of the same people that want the Middlebush Park? There's some of the same old people there. That's their feeling. You have a right to be a racist. I don't like nobody. I just told you that. I don't like nobody but black people. It's not wrong for him to go out there and fight other groups of people to try to help build a Hindu temple or try to get field for his Indian guys to play cricket. I don't like cricket either. They over my field over there in the neighborhood. You know, they got my whole field all day long, all day Saturday, all day Sundays. If you don't have nothing to replace it, you let them be where it is. There's a whole lot of people in town here. You got to supply everybody's needs. Of course, maybe he said the wrong thing about going to FBI, and he come down and get me. I'll talk to you. I have the same feelings you do. You ain't got to go all this. You know, that's a good man there. The best man on that council is that man sitting right there. I know. Johnny Tibbs knows who the best man on that council is. Rajiv Prasad. That's the best man on that council. Maybe, you know, he just don't know how to protect himself. He need to come to see me. I'd have took care of that. My boy is Rahid and all the guys. I would have took care of any races.
Mr. Tibbs, I do think the timer just go
Well,
off.
I'm a women's investigation. That's one last point.
That's
One-
it. No more. No more.
I think your 5 minutes did come
What
up.
I would say
believe I
this,
heard.
and anybody that agree with
No
council, with the,
more,
with the
Mr.
mayor,
Tibbs. Mr. Tibbs, no
before he
more.
resigns, they
Mr.
need to
Tibbs,
resign themselves.
no more.
My name is Mary Paterace, 14 Gregory Lane. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but now after that, I really do. Because once again, I'm being called a racist because I don't want a park built behind my condo. It has nothing to do with cricket. It has nothing to do with the tot field. It has nothing.
Excuse me 1 second. Can we just keep the crowd comments to a minimum? I think we can't. The camera won't pick up with all of the background noise,
Well,
and I think
hopefully
other.
this will stay recorded too.
No. I'm just saying that the people in the background, if they could just hold the comments until, or the clapping in the comments or the booing until everyone's done.
I appreciate that. The issue has always been, for me, is the flooding of Franklin Park in our area. We have done tremendous work on Canal to try and keep that from happening. We were the only area that did not flood during Floyd. We do not flood when the heavy rains come, but we have been getting wetter and wetter as the years go on. The only reason Phase 3 is not being done is because the neighbors were able to prove to you that it was not even financially feasible to do. So again, it had nothing to do with cricket. It has nothing to do with basketball. It has nothing to do with the tot lot. It has to do with traffic, the way this township has grown. I know Mr. Connell says buyer beware. I should have asked the question when I came here 22 years ago after the realtor told me that it was open space, and I took that for what it meant. I was not told it was active recreation before. You gave out a survey for us to pick areas that we didn't even qualify. The Board of Ed owned one of the property. The Dunn location was already designated for farm. Why'd you send out the survey? Why did you ask? If you wanted us to give you the information that what we wanted, why did you bother to ask when we knew it was going to be Catalpa? We spent a year working on this. I worked on the committee with you guys. I gave my suggestions. I agreed to the basketball courts. I said, let's put them in there. Not everyone's going to play tennis. All I asked was the cricket courts get moved back. What do I get? I get 2 large cricket fields set up on the CME thing when even the cricketers agreed to 2 smaller courts. You guys come back here at the open meeting and go, oh, well, you really wanted 1 large and 1 small. You were just being engineers. Well, that's not acceptable. This is how it was proposed. 1 large, 1 small, and you were going to push it back as far as you could. You push it back as far as you could, and you put the recreation for the athletic guys all around the cover, which doesn't help the cricketer fields at all because they're going to have people walking and exercising where they're trying to play their games, which could be a hazard in itself. So I am not a racist. I am totally offended by Mr. Tibbs. I am totally offended by this council, and I am just very upset that this is how you handled this whole situation. It makes me want to leave this town, and I swear to God, I am this close. Good night.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jeanette Willard, 11 Ulysses Road. I'd just like to say, I grew up in Franklin. I moved back here over a decade ago. And for those of us who've been here or back in the day, this town has always been a diverse town. Always. We had racial issues, riots. So at the end of the day, what I'm asking everybody here to do, we have a history, a proud history of working together and working through our differences. We've done it before. We've done it in worse scenarios than this. I feel like I'm ready to cry. I feel so badly for this woman over here. And at the same time, I have to say, I've known Councilman Prasad for 10 years. And he's always been a gentleman, truly, always did what was best for Franklin, in my experience. And I'm just hoping that all of us, can we please take a step back, be good citizens, be less judgmental, more forgiving of one another. Please, this is not going to solve anything. My heart breaks for this woman and some of the other people. But at the same time, I know some people sitting on this council, and they really work hard. They really do. I work on the periphery in terms of, I'm a committee woman, but I would never be able to put the time in that all these folks do, Democrat and Republican. This town has always found a way to work together, both parties. And a lot of the problems in this town are from both parties. Your planning board is not all Democrats. So I really think if we could find a way or get a group together, a citizens committee, please. I mean, we've been through worse than this. And at the end of the day, I think some of these folks, I think they feel like, can I move this? They feel like they're being called racist. And on a certain level, I really get that. Because look at our lovely and talented, our current Deputy Mayor, Kimberly Francois. She's been elected, I mean, you must hold the record for elections. This woman, there's no way she would have been put into office if white people didn't vote for her, if Republicans didn't vote for her. The same for Councilman Prasad. He served 2 terms. There's no way he'd be sitting on this dais if white people didn't vote for him. So even as a white person, I can understand where they're being called racist, and it hurts me because this town has always been diverse, and people have come through. Now, at the end of the day, and I know I'm running out of my time, it's not what I wanted to say tonight, but I'm really upset for some of these people here. And at the same time, I can see how distressed Councilman Prasad is. And so I'm just asking everybody, can't we just somehow, you know, it's not going to be easy. It wasn't in the 60s, it wasn't in the 70s, but we worked through. And we really had bigger issues than this. And if we could get through that, we could get through anything. We're known as a diverse town. We always will be a diverse town. So let's find a way. I mean, there are things that are going on I'm not happy about. I didn't know about some of this. We are overdeveloped, but that said, I'm going to shut up because I'm more emotional. I wanted to be cool, calm, and smooth, and I'm not. So anyways, but truly, let's just try to do something, all right? And hello, Mr. Mayor.
Hello, right back at you. And in my book, you were very cool and calm, so just so you know.
Benjamin Guy, 35 Patton Drive, Somerset, New Jersey. One of the main statements I want to say is that the burden of many lies on a selective few. The selective few that we have is you guys. So if there's any decision that comes about, we look to you. The main thing that we're looking for is that you're supposed to be representing the masses and not individual issues that are out there. Now, if you guys can't talk or collectively get together, then that might have to be reevaluated again. Because the simple fact is, we're all divided right now. We depend on you guys. And like I said, right now, you guys are failing us. And it looks real bad. We shouldn't even be worrying about this issue. You guys should have took care of this by now. It shouldn't even came to public opinion. It should have been taken care of behind the scenes, and you guys refused to do that. This park argument here is really nothing more than political bantering. It has nothing to do with the park altogether, because the town itself, whether or not we want a park or not, we're always agreeing on redevelopment. So we do that already, whether or not we like it or not. Just like when we had the problem with Middle Beach Park, same thing. We came back and we had a discussion, we had settlements, we did our surveys or what have you. This is political bantering because we got elected seats up. This is nothing more than that. It's a media thing. And I'm not sure who's behind it or what have you, but it needs to stop. There's no reason to be going back and forth. You got all these people riled up about nothing. We should be talking about development of this town. We should be talking about the vision of the town. We should be talking about what are we doing with this youth? What are we doing with this? What are we doing as far as development as a whole? But none of that stuff is being done because we wasted maybe 3, 4, 5 council meetings on the park, going back and forth. How much money have we wasted by then? It's a waste of time. You guys are starting to waste our times. So again, I'm asking everybody, look at these people, evaluate what they're doing, hold them accountable, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing in the community because, again, we shouldn't be going back and forth with this. We should all be paying attention to what's going on for the election season because the simple fact is, it's time. We have to change something. We have to do something. And again, if you're not holding these guys accountable, then we're not going to get nothing done. And that's what this is really about. It has nothing to do with this park. To a point. Yes, I respect that. But the main thing that we're doing, in quote, is the abuse of power and lies and covering up. Yes, we're covering up. We're covering up what we're not doing in the community. That's what this is really about. Somerset is doesn't have a growing vision plan that I can go to anybody in this room and actually quote your youth, middle class, high level class, or whatever you want to do them, or your elderly generation that's actually been residents for this town for a long time frame. There's no vision. Nobody can say what we're doing with this town at all because we're worrying about small things. The biggest generation, the biggest people in this town right now, as far as population density based on census population, is our youth. We do nothing for them. We do nothing at all. We started a couple initiatives here and there, but we do nothing. We spend no money on them. We do nothing at all. We got. If you know this town was getting out of population, you can gauge it by your youth. You got overcrowded schools. You got everything that's going wrong with this town based on you not being able to serve the youth. The reason why we're off the 2008 Money Magazine thing that everybody wants to get back to is because we're not doing nothing with education. We're not doing nothing with youth programming in this town. That's what Monroe, Lawrenceville, Piscataway, New Brunswick, everybody else is spending money on that. That's why their towns are growing. And people are fleeing this town. And the reason why the elderly population is really upset is because, again, they don't want it in certain areas. So, again, you work on other areas that are here. There's no relationship with the school board, no nothing here. It's a problem. And you guys need to fix it. And not later, now. You need to fix it now. Stop worrying about this park, get past it, fix the problem, and let's get on to some new business. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak?
My name is Brian Ulrich, 209 Wilson Road, and I and 1,280 other members are Tranquility. A month ago when I spoke here last, it was 735, so that's 550 more since we spoke last. I was going to say, since our last meeting, there's been many bombshells, but I don't want the ATF to show up at my house. I appreciate your apology. However, with a person in your position, an apology is necessary. However, it doesn't mean you get to keep your job. What you said about me and my wife is truly disturbing. The gentleman who spoke after her said it best. What you lied about it at the last meeting. You only came out and apologized in an email because you knew all your emails were opened. That's why it came out. I guess you could say you didn't say because what you did say was much worse. What you were being accused of was much worse. By doing that, you're trying to stifle free speech through intimidation. I mean, I just made a joke that the ATF would show up at my house, but is there some truth to that? The entire council here has a duty to speak up, because by an email that came through on the 28th or the 29th, forgive me, all these papers, you were all emailed on the 29th about that meeting of what he said. So you all knew about it. You all knew about it. I'm going to be listening very closely to everyone's closing arguments and closing speeches, because there definitely needs to be something said by everyone. I also wanted to mention, and we all know that there's a lot of hubbub going on right now in the national stage with emails and hiding emails or destroying emails. And the reason that they have that is because, well, all those emails are the public record. They belong to the people. And one of the things I've noticed in all of these emails is you guys all use personal email addresses. How is that? A lot of them. I mean, Comcast.net, AOL.com.
Every council member has a township email address. The Oprah
How come they're not on here?
The Oprah request requested both personal and township email accounts.
Yeah, but I have a personal email address, and if I delete something and I delete it from my trash folder, it's gone.
No, it's not. You might think so, but it's not.
On my personal email.
On your personal email, it's not gone. It's still on your server that provides your email.
So,
But we're not
how-
going to discuss that.
But how would the town get that?
It was requested and provided.
Just looks fishy. And if he says you can get it, you can get it. It just doesn't look right. These should all have township extensions on the end of them. I appreciate your apology, but I don't think you should get to keep your job.
Mr. Hayes?
My name is Jim Hayes. I live at 1374 Easton Avenue. I've lived here the bulk of my life. I was born here, went through the schools. There's just a couple things that I want to remind not only Mr. Prasad, but everyone that's up there. With this whole thing, I feel like something that I see on the national news at night, not in my township. It's gotten so blown out of proportion. It's disturbing. It's sad, really. And the reminder I want to give everyone is that your bosses are here. Our bosses are not there. That's how the country works. And as I was sitting here tonight looking around at the pictures that are hanging up, the other thought that I had was the people, which I'm proudly a follower of the Tranquility Alliance page on Facebook. It's a grassroots movement. Ben Franklin went to the Tun Tavern with some friends with the grassroots movement. We got the Marines. George Washington and some friends started a grassroots movement. We got our independence from Great Britain. Dr. King started a grassroots movement and did more for changing the views of race and for civil rights than anyone probably in this history country other than Abraham Lincoln. In the country that your background is from, A woman named Mother Teresa started a grassroots movement. A man named Gandhi started a grassroots movement. It's how they gained their independence. Now it's the largest democracy in the world. Democracy. Just remember that we're your bosses. And I feel like every politician's forgotten that. And it's sad because we feel like we don't have a voice. We feel that things are given to us, shoved on us, whether we like it or not, whether the majority likes it or not. I think this whole issue comes down to, for me, and from what I've seen on here, a lot of people, the traffic on South Middlebush. Where the proposed temple is going to be, they have a farm stand at Snyder's. I've witnessed 5 accidents and almost was a part of one, only because I drive South Middlebush back and forth to work every day. Are there going to be more lights on South Middlebush? Is there going to be more traffic, more noise, more, and not from the temple necessarily, but from the traffic? More accidents, more safety issues. These are the things that concern me. Not who's going to be there. I don't care who's going to be there, okay? I'm worried about the safety of myself and the other thousands of people that drive on that road every week, okay? I think that's where we lost our way. Thank you for grassroots movements. They changed the world, okay? It's a shame that they have to be looked upon and tried to be quashed in 2015, the way they were tried to be quashed in 1776. It's a shame. Thank you.
Keith Stewart, 26 Atlantic Road. I had thought I was going to come up here and talk about one thing, and it's just as the meeting has gone on, it's amazing how, when this all started with us trying to advocate for a park, and believe me, I do understand the anger that you all have. And it's just as the meeting gone on, we started out the meeting with so much positivity, and there is so much positivity here in Franklin that I think a lot of times we lose sight of that and we focus on the things that are negative and the things that outrage us, and that's what brings people out. When you look at all the people that are here now, the majority of people are here for negative reasons. And it's like, how do we go from this and where we are now to turn this into something positive? You had students out here that came here and talked about the great things that they had done, the initiatives that they had started. And I think we lose sight of the fact that when you look at the way kids look at things, they look at things in a naive way, a simple way, and I think we make things so complex and complicated that we forget that we should be doing the best for what's in their best interest. As adults, we should be advocating for the children of the community and making sure that we held ourselves to a standard that is worthy of them looking up to us, because we're hoping to change them and form them in a way that's going to make them positive and go out and help the community. When you look at the number of people in this room, if we can get together on something positive, we can make changes for all the things and all the people in this community that do need help. This community is full of people that don't have what we have, that maybe aren't as blessed as we may have. And when you look at what a few students were able to do for the food bank, for them to raise $275 for the food bank, that's an amazing thing. Those are the things that we need to champion. Those are the things that we need to make sure that we emulate and show and give them the initiative and give them reasons to go out and make the community better. So following in what they started with this meeting, with the positivity that they started in this meeting, I'm going to go ahead and I want to make sure that everybody can contribute. So I'm going to contribute $25 to the food bank, or $20 to the food bank, and I would hope that everybody else in this community can come together this evening, regardless of what your different beliefs are, and come away so Mr. Hasner and the food bank can go and help those people in the community that are in need.
Mr. Mayor, and all councilmen. My name is Parul Bhavsar. I live on 19 Lindsay Court. I'm here since 1985. My concern about the temples, God is everywhere, within each and everybody. God is within here, here, here. Only thing, I lived here, I love this country, I'm an American citizen. Only I need you guys think about the God to pray. Somewhere we need to go and pray and make the whole community and whole world peace, and that's it. This is my just request as a citizenship. That's it. I don't want to say anything else. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, good evening. Good evening. Matthew Sherrick, 207 Sapphire Lane.
Can you just pick the microphone up a little bit?
Sorry. Matt Sherrick, 207 Sapphire Lane, resident of Franklin Park since 1993. I'd like to take a moment and recognize Gina and Brian for their efforts in trying to give us a voice. When all the meetings I've gone to, the council has been very arrogant, not listening. All at the open meeting for Catalpa Park, every concern we brought up, no one listened. The only time the township was happy is when people came from Edison, Somerset, Washington, D.C. for a cricket court. And Mr. Prasad, you don't sound really peaceful to me. All these people came up and said how peaceful this is. It doesn't feel peaceful to me, calling the FBI. The concerns I have with Catalpa Park were brought up last time, and the council didn't care. The council didn't listen to concerns about wildlife, the box turtle. Box turtle it could be the tip of the iceberg. Whether there's a baseball diamond, a football field, a soccer court, a cricket court, and this is the point. We are not past the negativity. You know, the negativity will go away if we stop the development. That's what the people want who live there. The concerns we raised last time that the council didn't care about were the flooding, as I mentioned, the wildlife, and the traffic. You said you're going to look at the traffic. You said you're going to look at the traffic afterwards. Great. That's great. You're going to look at traffic afterwards. I drove here. There was a 2-mile line of traffic. We're going to put a temple on there. It doesn't matter whether it's Hindu, Buddhist, Judas, Christian, or Protestant. It's still more traffic. The road's at overcapacity now. What are we going to do with it? So you're saying there's not going to be any more traffic from the temple? Then why build it if no one's going to be there? That's a bunch of baloney. Who believes that? So I just don't know what else to do but to go out and knock on doors and donate to people who are going to listen to us in an election in November. I'm not sure how many of you deserve your seats. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Susi Tangaraju. I'm from 77 People's Line Road, Somerset. I would like to thank Mr. Rajiv Prasad for all his valiant effort, and I really appreciate your apology, because apology is a courage, whether you've done it right or not. But just accepting the mistake, it's a courage, and hope we just move on from here, where we need peace. Okay. And I just want to touch base a couple of things. The first thing is people were annoyed, like people from Edison, people from Washington, they have concerns being here and voicing their view for cricket field. So I'm here for almost 7 years, and I know for sure there are past decade or 1 decade, people were trying to get a cricket field. How many people? Do you know the stats? How many cricket fields we have, and out of all those things, how many been utilized? Do we have an answer? And I can tell you that there are only 3 cricket fields in last 10 years, and out of that, not 3 fields we are not being used. It's not because of the recreation, or it's not because of the council. It's because of that neighborhood who just keep on protesting that cricket field is a noisy atmosphere. How do they know? We demonstrated. and they agreed that it's a much better sport. And also, like, people talk about temple, all right? I know there are some ramification by the Rajiv Prasad statement. Even I'm also getting offended because somebody is like hurting my sentiments, right? Worshipping, like going to temple, is my like way of it is a way to lead a quality life. But like so I see some people who make a comment that we have enough temple. How do they know they have enough temple? Right? Okay, it's one. Let me tell you, like worshipping is like way to lead our life, right? And also, and we are going to talk about other stuff, right? Like we talk about like this is the first, one of the fifth best place to live in Somerset, right? When I don't have a, but I have always have a feeling that so this township, though we get support from council and council members, but like I don't have enough community or I don't have enough support to play and pray in this community. I'm sorry to say this. Thank you. Bye.
Bill Connell, 25 Spring Street. Hello, everybody. Couple things. Last council meeting, I just want to thank Councilman Wright for, I had some questions about the discussion he had about Hamilton Street, and he took the time to address those, and I appreciate it very much. That's an ongoing conversation, but I appreciate you rectifying that. On the agenda tonight, there is seating for Middlebush Park. Okay, I would wish you to explain that for a brand new park. And we're talking about South Middlebush, and forget about how you feel about what's going there. What is the plan for South Middlebush Road in the next 5 years? Okay, and specifically, something struck me while I was back there is when you come off of Amwell and take a left onto Den Herder, okay, at rush hour. Okay, you have people queuing up to get on Amwell. Taking that left onto Den Herder, you're taking your life in your hands because coming north on South Middlebush, okay, people have a pass on the right there. Okay, so if you have a car blocking your view and you're trying to take a left, you could easily get torpedoed there. Bill, anyway, as far as you, Mr. Prasad, I've expressed my opinion. Thank you.
Good evening, Andrea Reese, 72 Magellan Way. I wasn't going to speak, but I just feel that everyone sort of lost their way with regard to the whole initial issue of all of this, which really did start over a year ago, and me being on the core committee, which was started because of all of this open space development. The main issue, and it's why I'm also part of their alliance, the Ulrichs Alliance, is the whole open space. And when we all moved to this town, and it's why other people move to this town now, because they see the open space signs, and nobody knows that that open space sign means potential development. And so we really were all like duped into thinking, oh, this is great open space. This is where I want to live. And so, you know, all I want to say is that this whole thing really just got blown out of proportion with, you know, cricket fields and temples, and the essence of all of this has to do with the development or not development of open space, to leave it the way it is, and therefore also hopefully not incurring greater traffic problems than we already have, which we don't have the infrastructure for, and we're not thinking about prior to doing any development. It's always after the fact. Well, that's not going to happen. We know that. We know after the fact, then there's just going to be other problems. So we need to think about our infrastructure before any other development takes place. Thanks.
Alvin Levine, 15 Schindler Court, Somerset. I'm really here to speak on behalf of Franklin Township. and I want to give you a little short story. Back in the time when the federal government decided, or the courts, that the schools had to be integrated, one of the places that didn't integrate as they were supposed to was Durham, North Carolina. So the federal government sent somebody down from the Attorney General's office. He kind of scouted out and saw who were the sort of the ringleaders on both sides. And he got together the head of the Ku Klux Klan and the black lady who was the sort of the leading spokesman for her folks. And he made a committee, and he put those two people in charge. And the first time they got into a room together, they were at each other. But eventually they learned to work together, and they found out they had some things in common. And it got to the point where they worked out the problem, got the job done. And when that gentleman who was the head of the Ku Klux Klan died, the woman, this other woman, gave the eulogy at his funeral. So, Mayor, I charge you, get everybody here working together, get everybody helping, and you can make something good out of something that right now is kind of tenuous. Thank you.
Respected councilman, my fellow. Some more? Oh, I'm that short? Okay. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Respected councilman, my fellow Franklinship towners, I am
Your
Disha.
name and address, please? Sorry.
Yes, I'm Disha Ganapati, and I live on 4 Cartier Drive, Franklin Park. Like a lot of people, I was not going to speak today, but I want to say first and foremost that I come from a place of respect for all of you sitting up there, because as many people have come and said, you know, that's not a space or a chair that's easy to attain. So you're all respected, you're all well worth what you've attained. But these are people who are living here, and we have a voice too. 15 years ago when I came to the United States, I was in California, and my brother said they were going to open a Walmart in the neighborhood, and people actually said, no, you're not going to open a Walmart here. And the Walmart didn't open. And I said, really? That happens? You could actually stop something from being done because people say no? He said, yes. I said, wow. And then something similar happened here 15 years later, and I was like, oh, we can go and speak our voices and they would be heard. And somehow, as some of the folks here said, there's been so much of back and forth, and we feel that our voices are not being heard. I don't know why. And a lot of my Indian community members here feel that, I think, and I'm sorry if I'm wrong, they think that it's more because there's a temple that is being at stake, or there's a cricket pitch. But, you know, the Franklin or the Tranquility Protection thing that I'm a part of as well, we really are coming from a place of, listen, there's preserved space, let's just keep it preserved because we want to just go there and hike. You know, we're just coming from that spot. Right now, we're all very divided. We're so divided, it's like somebody said, it's like the national stage. It's not like a local community. Really, we are coming from that place of no race, no gender, no caste, nothing. You know, it's just simple. Let's have an open space where we can just go hike because we have enough things to do, right? We have actually a baseball, I think it's a baseball court, which is right opposite the Nob Hill community that never gets used.
It belongs to your homeowners association.
Okay, but you know, it's still not that used. Even though there are, I don't know how many people do we have living in our community, quite a few. But still, you know, people don't play as much. And there are tennis courts that are not properly maintained. It would really help to get whatever is there well maintained, you know, for example. And again, nobody is saying we don't need cricket, right? We actually did oppose the baseball and the football courts as well.
So this, I at least think it's not race driven. It's more like a group of people saying, we need open spaces remain open and so we could hike, and it's just coming from that place. It's really, from at least my perspective, it's not race, it's not religion. It's just a few people saying, let's keep the open spaces preserved, because that's why we really came here. And again, I come from a place of respect, and I hope we all come together to find a solution to this, because I think that's what this nation is all about. I firmly believe that. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Karen White, and I live at 106 Pear Tree Lane, and I'm another one of those people that wasn't going to speak tonight. I'm brand new to this issue, so I really intended to just stay silent and listen and learn. And I'm a member of the Alliance. I have been reading their Facebook page and all the postings. I've been talking to people in Franklin who, know about this issue to try to, get a grasp on it. And I'd like to add my perspective. I think I'm looking at this issue with brand new eyes, while everyone else is so mired in their sides of what's going on. And my personal opinion is that everyone is looking at this the wrong way. Okay? One of the most important books in my life was To Kill a Mockingbird. And that's because in there's a section where Atticus tells Scout that you can't know someone unless you walk around in their shoes. So all of my life, whenever I've been faced with something like this, I always try to look at it from the other side, from the other person's point of view. So humor me, let's do this. Okay, let's turn this situation around. Okay, let's say that Franklin Township is a town that's in love with recreation. And, there are basketball courts and cricket pitches and lacrosse fields and soccer fields and everything, everywhere, all over the town. Everyone is no more than 5 minutes from a playing field, because that's what the people want. Then I moved to town, and a bunch of people, like-minded people like me, and we go, we want green space. Okay? We're not interested in your sports. You must destroy some of your fields to give us our green space. Is that right? I think you would all, and people here would say, no, you can't do that. Who are you? Okay? So what I'm trying to say is Franklin is a town, as the last woman and a lot of people said, that is known for its open space, its green space, its preserved space, its preserved farms. Okay? We don't want any more athletic fields. We value our green spaces. That's why we live here. That's why many of us, myself included, moved here, was for that green space. It's got nothing to do with racism, cricket fields, or anything. And I think that this is what everyone has to think about. What do we value here? Our green spaces or our recreation facilities? Thank you.
How you doing, Council? My name is Willie Goods. I live at 600 Eastern Avenue in Somerset, and I'm a very concerned citizen of Somerset. I'd like to apologize to you, your family, for being lied to, for being accused falsely. I'd like to apologize to you for being called a racist. And I'd like to apologize to the council for saying that you don't do your job and that you're not worthy. I'd like to apologize to the Indian community that's here but feeling that you're not wanted. I'd like to say that, I commend Raji for having the courage to come to, in spite of his opposition, in spite of what he had to confront, he came out for his community and he did what he thought was right. And he got challenges and he didn't react like he should have acted. But I don't feel as though you could fire a person for doing their job. That's the job he was elected to do. And I know I made a lot of mistakes. I lived long enough to be called a lot of names. And some of them, they're everlasting. So you do have to earn that trust and that respect back. But we as a community, we have to learn to work together. This is outrageous. This is embarrassing to live in Franklin and go through this. We're at war. This is ridiculous. Well, I just hope that we really think and look at what's important and do the right thing.
Hello, my name is Lynette Dedayan. I live at 88 Pear Tree Lane in Franklin Park. I'm also part of the Alliance, and I'm also deeply offended by what took place. I feel that our integrity was challenged by Mr. Prasad. You know, the community, Indian community wants to believe it's about them, when so many of us are saying it's about open space and traffic and noise. Now, when you look at the location of these places, where the park is supposed to go, where the temple is supposed to go, where the new school on Claremont Road behind my house is supposed to go, you know, you start to wonder, like, why did I vote for open space that increased my taxes? Because I guess I didn't understand what it meant, like someone else said, that it could be open to development for these type of things. We all, I think, probably incorrectly believed open space meant exactly that, undeveloped open space. So, my error, my bad, I guess, but this issue, in my opinion, is not about race. It is not about name calling. I'm sorry, Mr. Prasad, I mean, I can accept your apology. I don't think I could forgive it, though. For the things that you said were so off the wall outrageous. Many of us, you know, are you know, just as good people as your people are here, that you represent. But you're supposed to represent everyone if you're elected to this council. All of you, not just Mr. Prasad. So how come the rest of you didn't say anything when this came up? That really upsets me. And as far as traffic goes, let me tell you, I was caught. There was another temple that was built, I think, in Robbinsville. You want to talk about traffic? I'm talking about Route 130, 3 lanes in each direction in a deadlock that I was in the middle of trying to get somewhere, had no idea what was going on. Now these places, the park, the temple, the school on Claremont Road, this is South Middlebush Road. My understanding is these are all county roads, because when we talked about the school and we want to know about the roads, oh, it's the county's road. It's their decision. We were talking about turn lanes and all of this kind of stuff. I don't think you guys even have anything you can make your, it was told to us that you can make your suggestions to the county, but you had no jurisdiction of what happened on those roads. So, correct me if I'm wrong, that was my understanding. So, I, by the way, am voting independent. I don't believe in political parties. I believe in the people who do the right thing. And that's where I come from. So, Democrat, Republican, I don't care about any of that. Do your job. Show me that you're honest. Show me what you stand for, and I will vote for you. I have voted for many of you, but I will think twice about doing that again. Trust me. And really, to the woman that spoke about the temple, you know, it's so offensive to me to be part of the alliance and I feel accused with them, which they shouldn't have been accused in the first place. I mean, this is the United States of America, where we can speak our minds and we can disagree with somebody else's viewpoints. That's what we're all about, without being accused of violence, potential violence, you know, neo-Nazis, all this kind of stuff. I can't tell you how offensive that is to me. Because I, for one, when I was working and I could afford it, supported the Southern Poverty Law Center, which tracks this kind of behavior around the country, you know, terrorists and whatnot. So to be, by a simulation, accused of this type of thing is so beyond my belief. I couldn't believe what I was reading. So I appreciate that you can apologize and have the integrity to do so, but to me, it's a little too late. Because if you harbor those beliefs, to even like say that, to want to bring in the FBI against these people, to me, that's like something that's already like inside of you. And yes, we all make mistakes, but that's pretty big for an elected official. So whereas I appreciate, you know, you coming here and saying what you did, I'm sorry, I could never vote for you again. Thank you.
I'm from the town of South Plainfield. Could I still speak?
Go ahead.
So firstly,
I'm sorry, just lift the microphone up and give your name and address, please, for the
I'm
clerk.
Dr. Govinda from the town of South Plainfield. I am here to speak in support of a temple, not because it's a Hindu temple or a Christian temple or a Jewish temple. My identity is neither Hindu nor Christian nor Jewish. If you look at it public policy perspective, we have 6% as a depression rate from National Institute of Health. This is National Institute of Mental Health, which says that 6% of Americans year on year have depression, and the lifetime statistics is 1 in 6 person. That is, you know, we have 100 people here, which means, you know, around 16 of us will have depression sometime over the lifetime. And really, if you think about it, nobody is really having a solution to this problem. We have great skyscrapers. We have, you know, good enough Amtrak trains, not the superfast trains like TGV of France. We have highways, but we don't have peace in our society. And we need to encourage, I request you to please encourage more places of worship so that, you know, more of us can become more and more peaceful, because we are right now in the middle of a big economic depression, and our problems are going to get more and more. We will have more traffic problems. I'm not denying that. Let's figure out a way to work together and have more places of worship so that we can find answer to our depression problem, which is the biggest problem of America right now. You know, we have enough food, we have enough highways, we have enough skyscrapers, but most of us are likely to use depression drugs, and this is more places of worship is an attempt to find solution to these problems. Thank you.
Are there any other members from the public that would like to speak? This is your last chance. Okay. Is there a motion to close the public session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion has carried. We are now up to number 7 in the agenda. We'll go with council comments. I'll start on the far side with, well, actually, let me mix that up since Councilman Wright isn't here. I'll start on this side with Councilwoman Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a statement that I'd like to read from the Franklin Township Democratic Organization with regard to the situation, and then there's going to be some editorializing from me, because this was a very touching meeting for me in many, many ways. So, let me start. Franklin Township, as Democratic officials, but also as citizens of Franklin, we are not only disappointed, but also take strong exception with Councilman Prasad's recent comments and actions. Whether intentional or not, he attempted to portray both the Ulrichs as well as the supporters of the Tranquility Protection Alliance as anything but concerned citizens fully entitled to express their constitutionally guaranteed rights of freedom of speech without concern of fear or intimidation. We're pleased that Councilman Prasad has tonight begun his efforts toward reconciliation with those individuals that he has offended. I sincerely believe he felt threatened for his community and took actions that were way out of proportion. The seriousness of the harm that was caused by that which was said cannot be minimized or overlooked. It is with deep, deep regret that this council hears of the potential harm to the Ulrichs and to the others of this group. And I sincerely urge Councilman Prasad to do everything to mitigate any harm he may have done. I sincerely hope that he can resume his long-held place as an elected official whose actions and words serve to further the interests of all the people of Franklin Township. This is an amazing community, and we can come together, and we will come together. There was so much said here tonight, I don't even know where to start. I've taken notes of what I thought were the major issues. There's so much misunderstanding, but understand, this happens to be an extraordinary council. You check us out against some of the other councils in other communities. We have people who are caring, who are sincerely integrated in this community. We represent everybody. We try our best to represent everybody. There are 65,000 people in Franklin Township, and it's not easy to balance all of those needs. There are needs for recreation. We had substantiating information saying there has been a 10,000 person increase in our community from the last census. Where are those people going to have recreation? Where are those children going to go to school? We had to build another school. And if you're concerned about the schools, go to the Board of Education. I'm sorry to tell you, we have no control over the Board of Education. I wish we did, but we don't. And if you're concerned and you don't like what's happening, bring a group like this before the Board of Education. They would faint if they saw this kind of crowd show up. Nobody goes to the Board of Education. You bring your concerns to us, and we can do nothing by law to mitigate anything that you're not happy with at the Board of Education. Use your grassroots to go fix that too, if that's where your concerns lie. We have 33% of this town preserved, 33, or is it 35? I'm not sure.
It's actually 34.
Okay. I'll split the difference. It's 34% of this town, which is an amazing, amazing number. When we buy open space, it cannot be developed. But by law, we cannot stop development. If someone has a legal right to build in this town, we can't say no. And yes, we can try to fix the traffic issues, but we cannot say no. That's the law, guys. And you may not like it, you may shake your heads, but that's the way that it is. You say we're not listening. Every one of us listens. Every one of us cares. Every one of us is torn by this. We recognize the pain that this is causing the people here that live around the park area. But we also realize we have needs in this township. We have communities that are growing in this township that need to be represented. And we don't have that many places that we can put a park. And we have heard you. You remember what this park looked like in the beginning? We cut it and cut it and cut it to make it more or less of an imposition on the residents. So we are not arrogant. We're trying very hard to please everyone, and that's not an easy thing to do. I want you to remember, or at least realize one thing. When those outrageous things were said by Councilman Prasad, nobody acted on them. Nobody. The chief of police didn't act on them. Our township manager didn't act on them. Our attorney didn't act on them. The council didn't act on them. People can stand on the top of a roof and yell fire, but nobody has to act on it. We did not act on it. We do not respect that kind of thinking, and we do not condone that kind of thinking. This is our town. You are our friends and our neighbors. We did not do anything about it. It never went further than, unfortunately, the frustration of someone who felt threatened. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I don't know that every council person needs to react to this. I think I may have said more than enough. And I hope you will understand that the Democratic organization, as well as this council, deeply regrets the pain that any of this has caused you, that all of this has caused you. And we hope we can work together, as it's been so eloquently said. This is a township that knows how to come back together, and we will. I would like to end this on a happy note. The Franklin Day Festival is bringing our community together, and that's what it's about. Next Saturday, let's joyfully come together in Colonial Park and meet our neighbors and talk to our neighbors and show that Franklin is a strong community that cares and will survive this. But let's survive it with the best results that we possibly can have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sherman. Councilman Vasanella.
Thank you. I was trying to digest everything that was said by the audience, and now I'm digesting everything said by my colleague. It's not been a good summer as far as unity in this township. I think most of the feelings that I feel about it, most of them have been said by Councilwoman Sherman. Not that she speaks for me, but I don't want to repeat it all. It's let's try to make the fall a better time, the rest of the year a little bit of a better time, maybe a turnaround in the unification of people in this town that think differently or feel differently. And I'm moved by a lot that was said tonight, and I'm not discounting anything that was said tonight. Two people stick out in my mind, and that was Willie Goods and Jeanette Willard, and I had no idea they were coming or what they were going to say, but you know, maybe we can try to absorb their words again. If people watch the tape again. But in general, I just hope we can move on, and I'm hoping also end on a happy note. You know, the Cedar Hill prep kids that were in here tonight, you know, $275 might not seem like a lot of money, but when you have hundreds of hungry families in Franklin, $275 is a lot of money. and the awareness that they can create amongst themselves and their school and people that were watching it on TV is priceless. So I'm hoping the town could move forward and we could see more of that at these meetings. Everybody's entitled to come and say whatever they want. I'm not discouraging debate, but maybe we could have more of what we saw in the beginning of the meeting tonight in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Saad?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have said what I had to in my apology to everyone, but apparently there is some misunderstanding on the context in which, and I'd just like to, if you would allow me to clarify what I had done, in that there were people from the temple who were concerned seeing the postings that came to me, and English is not their native language, and expressed to me that, look, here's a concern that 2 years ago, what happened in Wisconsin was where a neo-Nazi skinhead came and massacred 30 Indian American Sikh worshipers while they were praying in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. And this was the concern, that if there were negative postings, that they would then influence some mentally weak person to act on it with a gun. And you've got to do something to curtail it. And the only thing I could have done, normally I would tell the person to go directly to the police themselves, but since they had a language barrier, I expressed that on their behalf and told the chief, here's a concern. And the first thing I said was, we don't want Franklin to end up in the news for all the wrong reasons. And that was the intent behind it. And to make sure that any inflammatory language would not precipitate an event of what happened in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, or what happened in Charleston. And what even exasperated these worshipers was that within 30 days, there was a temple sign in North Carolina that somebody took a shotgun and shot it off. So then that hits the news, the Indian media, and they come to me as their representative or servant and say, do something about it. So that's what prompted what I did. And it is totally out of context that if you read it, and maybe I didn't express myself correctly, but that was the context behind it. I wasn't calling Gina and Brian neo-Nazis or any one of the temple, the Preservation Alliance people neo-Nazis. That wasn't the intent behind it. It was just to keep the worshipers safe. That was all I was trying to do. But I apologize if I expressed myself poorly. And again, I have read my apology, and I have nothing more to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Robinson.
Good evening, everyone. I have something positive to discuss. So this is kudos to the Franklin Township Baseball 12U team. On Friday, August 28th, 12 players and 3 coaches from Franklin Township Baseball League's 12U team, along with their families, traveled to Cooperstown, New York for the one-week Cooperstown National Baseball Tournament. This is where local townships have participated in this tournament on an annual basis, while per Franklin, senior members of the league's board of directors have never sent a team. So the team went 7-4 overall and finished 16th out of 104 teams. So I would like to end by saying by the end of that tournament, everyone knew about Franklin Township Warriors on a positive note. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well stated. Councilman Chase.
As Councilwoman Sherman and Councilman Vasanella have said, a great many things were said here tonight, and it's difficult to respond to all or even many of them. Some of them, in fact, I was really very impressed by and almost proud of. Some very high ideals were expressed. I think one thing I have to say right away is in all my meetings with people who live around the Catalpa Park, I never heard one word that could have suggested to me any racial element in the opposition. It is entirely concern for the quality of their quality of life where they live, and concern for open space. I believed, on the basis of the very extensive study we had done by a nationally known firm, that we need more active recreation, more sports fields in this township. And we've certainly had people like Keith Stewart in particular address us to that effect. I've heard from the cricketers, and we learned that a couple of members of our national team live in Franklin and play on Franklin teams, and they need home fields to play on. So I believe that we can afford, I have believed, I'll put it that way, that we can afford to use a very small fraction of our total open space for this, for more active recreation, playing fields of one sort or another, particularly for cricket. And I'd point out that the area proposed for cricket is an open grassland now, and it will be an open grassland if it's used for cricket. Most of all, I point out that we have 2,278 acres of township-owned open space, as well as over more than that of farmland that we have spent township money to preserve so that it will continue to be farmed and will not be developed for houses. We have over 4,000 acres of state-owned parkland and the 6 Mile Run Reserve in the township. We have Colonial Park and other county parks and county-owned open space in the township. I think certainly over 1,000 acres of that. So that's why I think that we can afford to develop I don't know exactly, the engineer at the hearing said something like 5 acres for the tennis, the basketball courts, etc. That the reduction in our total open space in the township is, somewhere on the order of 0.1%. So I call on you tranquility people to enjoy all of the open space that we have in the township. I served on the Open Space Committee for a number of years. I'm council liaison to the Open Space Committee. We have bought probably most of the land that is likely to need to be preserved by the township to keep it from being developed. In fact, we haven't had opportunities to buy much more open space for the last 5 years or so. Most of it was bought in the first 10 years of the Open Space Committee. And that's why it seemed appropriate now to use some of that money. And remember this, we've built up a surplus because we haven't been buying land recently. Your taxes won't change however we spend the money. And remember that the referenda that established the Open Space Trust Fund and the increase in the rate approved using this money not only for the acquisition of open space, but also for the development of active recreation. The original county referendum for a county open space fund did not have this provision, and subsequently in 2005, the county went to a referendum to add having active recreation supported by the county open space fund. And that passed in Franklin in every election district except one. I know why it didn't pass in that one. A bird watcher I know put out a lot of flyers against it, and I was really rather against it at that time. But I do think that we can devote, as I say, somewhere way under 1% of the open space we now have. You're not listening, Mr. Ulrich. To provide active recreation for people who want active recreation. I'm deeply sorry, and I apologize to everybody associated with Tranquility, and in particularly to the Ulrichs, of the words that Mr. Prasad has used, the implications, as I understood it, not really of the Ulrichs, but of some of the people who had posted on the site and whose postings Mr. Ulrich took down. So far, this is what I've been told. I'm not on Facebook myself. But so I'm deeply sorry that any such taint has come to them as a result of Mr. Prasad's actions. But I still think you'll have to convince me that the majority of the township do not want one single acre of existing open space used for active recreation.
Okay, Councilman Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilwoman Sherman, Councilman Vasanella, and Councilman Chase have very eloquently said the things I wanted to say. Often here on council we grandstand and we say it over and over again. I don't think that's necessary. You can count me as saying the words they have said on this matter. There is some concern, though, that did come out from this about the use of emails and the Open Public Records Act, and the Open Public Meetings Act. And I was concerned about those, and as soon as what I understood about that, I instructed, as much as one council member can instruct the manager, let's say I strongly suggested and he agreed, to that every body, every public body, every committee that is governed by the Open Publics Meeting Act at their next meeting, review the Open Public Meeting Act and the requirements of it. I found a document on the web that's in layman's terms that explains that, and I ask that that be reviewed at the next meeting of every one of these governing or advisory bodies, and that I have suggested that the admin committee, which is a council committee, examine our ordinance so that at the initial meeting every year of one of these committees that are governed in such a way that they review that same document and go over the Open Public Meetings Act. This town has a strong history of openness. I understand why some people are worried about that now, but that is one of the main things I have campaigned on and have always pushed for, and I'm asking the admin committee to take that under consideration. Speaking of the township working with the BOE, actually, I was having a conversation with the president of the BOE. I am the liaison to the Board of Ed. And they apparently had, I assume to save money, had stopped sending out their newsletter. We send out a newsletter 3 times a year. Part of our cost cutting when I took over, when Ms. Sherman, Mr. Wright took over, in 2010, we were in desperate straits. We cut from 4 to 3 newsletters. You may have gotten the Franklin Times just recently in your mail. He and I came up with an idea together that perhaps if we made it a joint publication with the idea, you know, if you open it from this end, it's clearly Township, and then you flip it over, and now we're going from the back end. It's clearly BOE, so that they're separate. Perhaps we can share publishing and mailing costs, and maybe we can get ours up to 4 times a year, and maybe they can start publishing and communicating again. So that would be a shared service that would be increased information for the town, and I'm asking the manager we are planning a joint meeting between council and Board of Ed, that be included as something that we can investigate. I'll put on my doctor hat for just 1 second here. Flu clinic, flu season is coming up from September 10th. It's from 10 to 12 on September, I think it's September 26th. It's in the Franklin Times at the Senior Center. There'll be a free flu clinic for anyone who needs the flu shot. We all need the flu shot if we are of the proper age and do not have the limitations. It is through this that we prevent this disease. More people die of flu than the scant few that died of Ebola in this country. We are much more at risk from flu than we are from exotic diseases. But Ebola got the headlines. Get the flu shot. It will save lives. Even if it doesn't save yours, you may not pass the flu on to somebody and you may save theirs. The last thing is there was a soccer tournament this past weekend hosted by the Shooting Stars soccer team here. It was primarily of Sierra Leone nationals. There were 16 states represented, 16 states from the United States represented by 16 teams. I heard estimates anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 people attended. This was at Middlebush Park. That put people in our hotels, at our restaurants. That was good for the town. There were a few hiccups with trash in the parking lots afterwards, but the people who hosted it chipped in and got the parking lots clean and the fields clean within hours the next day. And there was a complaint of someone brought a loudspeaker system there and turned it up too loud, and there was a loudspeaker complaint. The police did shut that down. I urge the manager and Mr. Wright to hurry up with the regulated speaker system, because that will be set at such a way that it can't be turned up, it can't be too loud. We've proved with one test that you wouldn't be able to hear it off the field, so I encourage that to be done. And I put my phone number here. If anyone in the neighborhood or anyone else had a complaint and they didn't bother calling it in out of frustration or just didn't want to bother someone, please call it in. That was the first major tournament we had, and I'd like to hear about all the glitches. You know, this is something we've started, and I want to get it right, and we can make it so that that glitch doesn't happen next time. It is a bit of a learning experience. Thank you. And one last shout out. While I was helping pick up some of the trash, Tom Lewis, former BOE member, was walking by and he said, "Well, if you're picking it up, I guess I should too." And he came back and he chipped in for a good hour to help clean up. So I really do thank him for that. And that's all I had, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Wright.
Mr. Mayor, a couple of committees that I sit on haven't met, and they will meet this month. From Land Use, Housing Authority, Redevelopment Agency, Recreation Advisory Committee, and Public Safety. They haven't met this last month, and they should be meeting this month, so somewhere around the end of the month or the beginning of October, I'll give you an update on the committees that I serve. The next thing the township manager can help me with, not to get into all this other kind of business, but if he can explain to the residents and the council how land was appropriated for the parks that we have and looked at in Franklin Township by developers.
Wow. Would you like me to go alphabetically with all the parks, or I mean, at what? So I mean, we have a large number of parks, and there's small ones and large ones, and the
Give me
township.
the short version.
So well, the township has acquired that land through a number of different means. Certainly by donation from developers. We've acquired them, such as the proposed park at Catalpa that was acquired with municipal funds specifically for the purpose of a park. And it was purchased from a developer to keep the property from being developed. Middlebush Park was part of the cluster zoning requirement, the give back from the developer for recreation purposes. Wow. All right, there's a couple of them. So
That's what I appreciate.
Inman Park was purchased from a quarry company by the township to purchase that land that had previously been a quarry. That's why it used to be called Quarry Park, and that was purchased specifically to be a park. And the list can go on and on. I think that's the point you're trying.
Thank you very
make?
much.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the point. On the second piece. Like Councilman Kramer, I just decided to go to Middlebush Park, and lo and behold, there are soccer matches going on. So I definitely enjoyed staying that little bit of time that I did stay, watching the soccer matches. And last but not least, a lot of people were asking for an update, so I'm going to ask the township manager for a quick update of the concession stand at Middlebush Park.
Okay, so the concession stand has been vetted through the different committees, the last being land use. The concession stand concept was asked to be moved forward by land use. It's being moved forward with the bid specifications that will go out to bid. Hopefully, my hope was for a bid award to be made at the next council meeting, so that the building can be constructed. It's a prefabricated building, so it should be able to be done in relatively short order.
Mr. Mayor, I'm done.
I think that may be record time for you, Councilman, right? I didn't mark the time at the beginning, but thank you. So once again, I will go with Deputy Mayor Francois.
I'll be brief as always. It breaks my heart to hear all the pain and hurting and dissension over this particular issue. And all I can do is to continue to pray to God and ask Him for His blessings, ask Him for healing, and ask Him to provide us direction and unity in this township, and so that we can all move forward in the right direction and do what's best for everybody here in Franklin Township. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. I have a few, as some people here might imagine, I have a few things to say. One, to be a broken record again, feel free to stop by our animal shelter to either drop off food or supplies. There is a list kind of over on the clerk's office over there, typically, of what the shelter is in need of, in desperate need of, might I add, since they operate on a basically donation basis. While you're there, feel free to adopt your forever friend and take them home with you, because they make great loving pets. On a couple things that weren't actually touched on, I don't think. On September 19th, I know Councilwoman Sherman says it is Franklin Day. Except it's also my birthday, so I think it's very fitting it's Franklin Day. But there is the Renaissance Community Development Credit Union is putting on their annual bike ride to raise awareness for prostate cancer. It's taking place at the Franklin Middle School. It's similar to our Franklin Food Bike Ride. They have I think a 10 mile, a 30, a 50, and a century. The following day, there's another ride that I was planning to do, but I don't know if I'll be able to do it. It is the Century for the Cure, also to be a broken record for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. It takes place, it starts in Warren, but comes through Franklin for a little while. Like I said, near and dear to my heart. And near and dear to my blood as well. On September 11th, at this Friday, at McAfee Road School, they're having a September 11th, I want to call it a memorial service, but I don't know if it's a memorial service. It is a service there. It's at 2 p.m. If you have any ability to get there, the McAfee Road School does a great job with these type of things, the Flag Day, the September 11th, all of the holidays, getting the kids involved. They really put on a great event. Let me just double check my notes. Mr. Tibbs, you called me out before. All right. I figure I'll acknowledge what you said. And then, well, I'll start off with something you said that kind of disturbs me. Okay. Something you said that kind of disturbs me. You're on the Human Relations Committee, and yet you ran around here saying you're a racist. I find that disturbing, to say the very least. The very, very least. I think you should think long and hard about what you said, what you believe, and then what you do on the Human Relations Commission, because your charge is to promote civility and bringing people together. Okay, but like I said, you screamed into the record that you were a racist, and you are on the Human Relations Commission. So I think that's a little different than you said a little while ago, but I will take you at your word. I like to think your heart's in the right place. These are the mayor's comments, so you had your 5 minutes. I do appreciate you. I think your heart's in the right place, but like I said, I think you should think long and hard about the way you're spending your time and the words you say, because they do have an impact on not only yourself, but a lot of other people. And I think we kind of saw some of the things that words can do tonight. So It's just something I'm saying, and also since you called me out on it, I figured I would kind of bring those things up. So back to the topic of the evening. Before I end on a good note, there have been a lot of things said today. I wanted to prepare a statement, but I figured I would listen to what everybody said tonight, and then I would, for good or bad, go off the cuff on it. A few things kind of stuck out. Some words or phrases that kind of stuck out. One of them was the higher standard I think that we should be held to. One of the ones that kind of hurt me a little bit was that we let the people down, and I think that's a shame. And I personally will apologize if I let anybody in the town down. I think as appointed politicians here in town, we should be held to a higher standard. And things we say are amplified, obviously, but they are also reported in the news and they are spread around, and they are, if they're not considered truth, they may be seen as truth. And I don't think it is fitting of anybody up here to do anything that in any way lets the people down. It could anger some people. It could, in the case of this park, annoy some people while making other people happy. That's the way this system works. We should not have anyone in town, and this is something that really kind of got to me, that comes to the council and say what council is doing makes them want to leave this town. That I find, if that's the way people think about what the council's doing, we might as well just pack up shop and all just leave, because we're not doing you a service and we're not doing us a service. And if we think we're listening to you, but if you don't think we are listening to you, in reality, we're really not listening to you, because it's a perception, and a perception becomes reality. And I heard it seemed that a lot of people think we are not listening. So I will double my efforts to listen. And like I said, Councilman Kramer said his phone number's up here. My phone number's up here. My email is mayor.kelly at Township Franklin NJUS, whatever. So I'm easy to get a hold of. I appreciate the apology. I understand what it takes to come out in public and say something that is deep and comes from the heart. So I do appreciate that. But in sticking with I think we need to come to a higher level, I will stand with my assertion that I think you should resign, because you're not, I don't want to say worthy, because I don't think that is it. I don't think you are holding yourself to the standard that I think the council should be at. And since I'm the kid up here, and I'd like to say I'm the new guy, but I'm no longer the new person up on council. I can be honest with you all. I came here with kind of a little bit of a naive attitude, where someone from council, I think, said they came from Hudson County or somewhere else, and this type thing happens up there. I've lived here for next week it'll be 44 years I've lived here in Franklin, and I really, really thought, and in my naive little brain, I thought this didn't happen here. And when I sat out there and watched the council meetings, and I really wanted to think that, no, this is Franklin. That stuff happens in Hudson County, or that kind of stuff happens in Washington. It doesn't happen here. This is my idyllic little Franklin. It doesn't happen here, but it does. And I think that needs to change. Can we all work together if you don't resign? Yes. I mean, I don't expect you to go with what I think, but I can work with you. We can work together, much like everybody else here is pushing, and I think we owe it to the town to do that. So I'm full with that. Mr. Levine, I don't see you here anymore, but I liked and actually loved your idea. No, I'm sorry. The other Mr. Levine. The other. Sorry. I guess I should have been more specific. For the non-freeholder Levine, Al Levine.
The good-looking Mr. Levine.
When he charged me specifically, and I guess in periphery, charged the council with working together to make this work. I know I've known Franklin for a long time. This will work. I mean, it's not specifically a park issue. It's not it's a people issue, basically. And I think we need to, and we owe it to the people who we serve the people of the town. We owe it to them to get past all of this and to make things work, to make Franklin what makes Franklin the best. And it's the people. So, like I said, I think on that note, and like I said, I'm not as eloquent as I should be, but in another shameless plug, if anybody out there is thinking about getting married, needs to get married, or wants to get married, when the woman from Leukemia Lymphoma Society was here, we proclaimed this Blood Cancer Awareness Month for September. So I've heard rumors that the mayor gets paid for performing weddings. The deputy mayor confirmed that earlier on today. So I decided that for all of the money that the mayor is supposed to get paid to do weddings, I'm going to perform as many as I possibly can and donate it all to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. So I'm actually just trying to drum up business because the town actually makes money from this as well. So for every wedding I perform, the town earns $100, and the Leukemia Lymphoma Society will get $50. So if you know anybody that's interested, or even if you know somebody that's not interested, tell them come on out. We actually had one here this afternoon. It was a beautiful event. It's a little warm in here, but it was quite a nice event. So the first one is in the books. And for those of you keeping score at home, that was number 43 of the weddings I've done since I took office in January. So I think I am passing Brian Levine for the amount of weddings I'm performing. But I don't think there's an official record book. So on that note, I will pass this over to the township manager, who may know if there is a record.
I don't believe there is, but I will pass it on to the master
Sure,
clerk.
excuse
I'm sure
me.
there is a record of every wedding that we've ever done in Franklin Township.
Excuse me,
Is there not?
Mr. Vornlocker.
I'm sorry, and if I'm out of order, please let me know. One thing, I just want one correction for the record. I don't dub myself as a politician, but a political leader. So for myself, that's all I can.
No worries. Okay, now back to
Okay, now the manager's report, and I will make this brief, Mr. Mayor. There are two things I need to speak about, and the most important at this particular point is, as you all are aware, we did in fact have planned for this Friday, September 11th, the dedication of our 9/11 memorial out in front of the library. There's been some discussion among myself and Councilman Prasad, who was the chair of that ad hoc committee to create that monument, about a conflict with a service that has been held every year at St. Matthias Church since the year following the 9/11 attack. And the fire, may I please speak? Thank you. So given the fact that there is a conflict, and it is in honor of John Collins, who was a New York City firefighter who was killed in the World Trade Center, and all of our firefighters have attended that ceremony for all of the years that it's been held, we thought that it would be best if we postponed our 9/11 event to dedicate our memorial. And I've spoken with John House, our fire prevention official, who's been in contact with the chiefs of some of the various fire companies here in Franklin, and there was a suggestion that we hold our dedication at 6 p.m. on the 29th of September, which would be immediately preceding the council meeting that night at 7. And then we could do that dedication and then move to the council meeting. And if there were any comments that council wanted to make regarding the dedication, it could be done at the council meeting. So if there were no objections, I got no objections from the fire service. I thought that I would move forward with the rescheduling for that date. So it will be at 6 p.m. on the 29th of September, and we will dedicate the monument, which will include a piece of steel from the World Trade Center. Okay? And then the only other thing I have, Mr. Mayor, is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. for all those interested, specifically those who are either residents or business owners in the Hamilton Street Business District area. There will be an opportunity tomorrow at the Chinese Christian Church at 758 Hamilton Street to meet the 2 officers who are now working as the dedicated neighborhood police team on Hamilton Street. So if you want to go out and meet the 2 guys, they'll be there tomorrow at 6, and you'll have an opportunity to express any concerns you may have or ask them for any assistance that you might need in the Hamilton Street area that they might not be aware of. So that's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, we're full of quick reports here this evening. Okay. Since there are no council discussion items, we're up to the approval of the minutes. So the following minutes are hereby presented for approval by the Township Council. Township Council Work Session Regular Meeting, August 12, 2015, 7 p.m. August 11th? Did I say April? Oh, I'm sorry. August 12, 2015 at 7 p.m. August 11th, sorry. I'll chalk it up to chemo brain. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. McCarthy, will you poll the council?
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly,
Yes.
Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Where'd he go? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's like, excuse me for a second.
Yeah.
I know, right? What is this, my debut?
568 and 18 cents.
Oh, okay.
I'll be here.
Sorry about that. There was a number missing on my on the warrants value. So, warrants in the amount of $15,329,568.18 on September 8th, 2015 are presented to the Township Council for payment.
Motion for payment.
Second.
Ms. McCarthy, will you poll the council?
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly,
Yes.
Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance number 4116-15, an ordinance amending Chapter 183 entitled Property Maintenance, the revised general ordinances of the Township of Franklin, New Jersey, with the addition of a new Article 12, Registration and Maintenance of Vacant and Abandoned Residential Properties in Foreclosure. The Township Attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order.
I move to open the meeting for public hearing.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. This meeting is open for public discussion on this ordinance. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand, and when recognized, give your name and address.
Mr. Mayor, seeing when no one come forward, I make a motion that we close.
Seconded.
comments.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Move the final passage of the ordinance.
Seconded.
Okay. Ms. McCarthy, will you poll the council?
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly,
Yes.
Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella? Councilman Wright?
Mr.
Yes.
Mayor, I just want to,
Councilman Kramer?
I just wanted to remind everyone that that is the anti-zombie property ordinance, so that these properties that are sitting there and rotting shouldn't happen, because we're going to hold the banks that own them accountable for them. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the clarification. Ordinance number 4117-15, bond ordinance amending bond ordinance number 3811, finally adopted January 27th, 2009, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 3877-10, finally adopted on April 27th, 2010, and by bond ordinance number 4078-14, finally adopted on September 9th, 2014, providing for the 2009 road overlay program in and by the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, to amend the description thereof. The Township Attorney has approved an affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order.
Motion for the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. This meeting is open for public discussion on this ordinance. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand, and when recognized, give your name and address.
I move to close the portion of public hearing.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Is there a motion for final passage?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay. Ms. McCarthy, will you poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella? Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinances on introduction and first reading. Ordinance number 4118-15, an ordinance granting renewal of municipal consent to Comcast of New Jersey 2, LLC, to construct, connect, and operate and maintain a cable television and communication system in Franklin Township, New Jersey. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, September 29th, 2015, 7 p.m. in the municipal complex.
So moved.
Seconded.
Ms. McCarthy, will you poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
I'd like to ask that this be submitted to the Cable TV Committee for comment on the ordinance, since they did a great deal of work on it.
Actually, this part of it was negotiated by the manager and myself, and we have kept them apprised as they went along, and I believe that we sent it to them about 10 days ago.
Joyce was given it to.
Okay.
So, and we're under a time frame to adopt it, so I would ask that we introduce it, and if the Cable Committee wants to give us any comments.
Because I think they meet next Monday.
And that's why Joyce was told to go ahead and review
Correct.
the contract with them.
Okay. Well, then, yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella? Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay. Items A through AK, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption.
Motion for passage.
Second.
Mr. Mayor?
If I can, Councilwoman Robinson has two items that she'd like removed from the consent agenda. That's for us, removed for a separate vote.
Yes,
And they are.
please. J and K, 14J and 14K, please.
And any councilman.
And Mr. Mayor, sir.
Councilman Kramer.
I would just like to point out item AI, which is the Canal Fest resolution. And it is basically, we're allowing Canal Fest to shut down a street, but now I can shamelessly add in my advertisement for Canal Fest on Saturday, October 17th, and the rain date is on Sunday, October 18th, 11 to 5. music, food, lots of food. That's my favorite part is the food. And this will be the fourth year, I believe, or fifth year. And it's really a lot of fun. There were probably 2,000 people there last time. And proceeds benefit the food bank. So thank you.
You know, if I didn't like it so much, I'd say one bite of the apple, Councilman, one bite of the apple.
I didn't say it.
He
Snuck
said
that in. You
shamelessly.
snuck that in.
I did sneak it in, and I'm proud of it.
Mr. Mayor,
Okay, Councilman Wright.
just a little sneaking behind Councilman Kramer here. Number Q, the award the purchase of seeding the fields at Middlebush Park and total lawn care. I think that the park is definitely need to be kept up.
I brought a turf expert in to look at the turf because we've had a rather harsh summer and with the watering, and the fact is that the softball field isn't watered. And the recommendation was to bring in and overseed the turf, the natural turf at the park to maintain the grass there. So that's what we're doing.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so let me back up a little bit and go with items A through K with J and K removed, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption.
Motion for passage.
Are we-
Second? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Ms. McCarthy, will you poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
J and K, I'm abstaining. A.
There will be a second vote for J and for J and K.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella? Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was trying to.
Okay, so now back to this. So the items J and K on the consent agenda, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption.
Motion for passage.
Second.
Ms. McCarthy, will you poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella? Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood. The first vote was all of them
Except J and K.
Okay.
And the
fine.
second one was just J and K.
Okay, it was the AK I misunderstood. I now understand.
They
what you
went.
did. Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Okay, and are there any nominations for boards, committees, or commissions?
Nope.
Okay, then is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. This meeting is adjourned.